Oh, hi everybody. I just want to talk today about um, all the different books you can find on acting and some of my favorite acting coaches. Um, I've studied with lots and lots and lots and lots of acting coaches, and I'll probably end up leaving some people out, but I can put more down, and then some of mine are listed on my um, Actors Access resume. One of them's up on what used to be Twitter, now it's called X, and then IMDb Pro, Casting Networks. Um, anyway, and I have a profile up on Vimeo too, but I don't think it lists all my acting teachers, but it's got some clips and things on there too, in addition to the clips here. And okay, so Joanne was in a movie called Scorpio. She was in with Burt Lancaster. She played his love interest. I mean, this is an older movie, of course, but she was in the original Star Trek with William Shatner and William Nimoy. And so, anyway, and I had met William Shatner one time because he came to our school and judged our essays, and mine got chosen with another student. And my eighth grade teacher's husband was the entertainment writer for the Dallas Morning News, Bevo Baker. But anyway, years later, decades later, I guess, and that decades ago from now, I guess a couple decades ago, I saw him on a set, Dodgeball. So, and he played the sportscaster on that. And I ran into him, and he kind of remembered. I had to get permission from the AD to talk to him. When you're just an extra, you have to get special permission to talk to just about anybody except other extras. So, or or people that you have to talk to. Or if they talk to you first, it's okay. There's a lot of, it's like kind of like the military or something. But anyway, Joanne wrote this great book. Back to Joanne, 7 Steps to an Acting Craft. It's a really marvelous book. Of course, it's better if you can meet her in person, which you can't now because she lived to be in her 80s. Excuse me, her 90s, I'm sorry. She lived to be 90 something. I have to go back and look it up, but I got to see her on her houseboat one time. But I took lots of classes from her, and then Susie Fisciotti, which I mentioned the other day, who was one of her teachers in her school. She used to have a school over on Pico in West LA, and but she has a lengthy IMDb page, so lots and lots of things. She was in like Twilight Zone and all kinds of different movies and TV shows back in the day. But she was just a marvelous teacher. She was very strict, very, very strict, but very, very kind of motherly too, kind of caring, nurturing kind of person, but very strict. But she would take our acting to a new level. Just really, really made us stop and think. One time, we did a lot of readings from like William Inge and Tennessee Williams, different poetry readings, Clifford Odets, which I guess I have that here, Shakespeare. This is one of the books, and then one of her favorite students, Mark Ruffalo. He's a very successful actor, and I got to meet him too. That was really exciting. He came to our school one time and performed live on stage, and he's just a marvelous actor. He could do anything, comedy, drama, everything. Of course, you know that because now he's a famous actor too. So, and then after the little scene night, we all went to I don't know if it's still there out in LA, Silver Spoon's restaurant, which I think he used to be a bartender there. I'm not sure, or he was a bartender at other places too, and networked with a lot of people that way too, and studied and did lots. He did tons of theater. If you ever see the story, he went on like 600 and something auditions before he started booking the better roles. Of course, he's been in all kinds of movies. If you want to, look him up on IMDb. But I met him and his wife, and then their babysitter called, so they had to go back home early. And then he gave me, they hadn't drank their wine, so he gave me a glass of wine. he was just the nicest person. Um, he and his wife were just really great. They were so nice to us, and they gave us great advice. And I was so excited to meet someone like him. And I said, "Wow, you're almost like a movie star now." At the time, he was not quite as popular as he is now or successful, but he was already to book some things and was on his way to more stardom. But anyway, he said, "Don't worry about studying with any other teachers." His favorite teacher was Joanne. I had already taken different classes with other teachers anyway before, so great teachers. But also, but he said, "Don't worry about becoming a star. Just become the best actor you can be." And I thought that was really great advice. Um, he didn't consider himself at his goal was never to be a movie star. He just wanted to be a great actor, and he is a great actor. And if you are a great actor, you should be able to book some good work. But you do have to get out there and network, and he did that too, and did theater and met a lot of people in LA. I think he's originally from New York, but then lived in LA a long, long time. I guess then he and his family had moved to LA, or so. But anyway, that's that's about Joanne. But yes, and then one of her favorite teachers. She also taught Selma Hayek, and she taught the tall guy from Seinfeld, Kramer, I guess, funny one. And oh, and her son was the boy in on Golden Pond. Now he's in his 50s, I think. But Mark Mark Rydell was her ex-husband, and then Chris Rydell was her son. And then, of course, her ex-husband, Mark Rydell, directed on Golden Pond with Katharine Hepburn and Jane Fonda and Henry Fonda. And then, like I said, her son, Chris Rydell, was the boy in that movie. And but anyway, she grew up, I think, out in Long Beach, and was from California. See, so and then she went into teaching, and she did a lot of voiceovers and acting, and did a lot of theater. She used to teach with Stella Adler in New York also, so that was really cool to know. So anyway, I got to see Bob Frazier speak, but he had a great program. You Must Act. He's got videos online. He has since passed away also. He was pretty elderly. He lived to be a nice older age also. I think when you love what you do, that helps you with your longevity. He really had a passion for all of it. He did writing and acting and producing. And but he's got some books, and I've got some of his videos. He had a video program, which is great. It really instills in you the passion that you already have for it. I just love all this stuff. It's like I said, it's hard to. Can you see why it's hard to, after 20 years of that on and off, it's hard to go back and try to sell insurance and other things, which I've done on and off as I've moved back and forth, and also with the substitute teaching and other jobs. I've had regular jobs before too, in between, just to pay my bills because I'm an older single and such, and I can't really afford to retire. Which, if you're an older single person, you want to stay busy anyway, because I don't have kids or grandkids and everything. Like a lot of my friends from high school have all these people to visit. Although we do get a lot of reunions, but anyway. Kevin West is a good acting teacher, but he's also he's a really good actor. He's had lots of different agents, which he's great about the business acting, but he's a great actor too, and he's been in a lot of things. You'll see him in a lot of Lifetime movies and Hallmark movies, but he's been in a lot of TV shows, a lot of smaller roles, guest star, recurring regular, that type of thing. If you Google him, Kevin E. West, because there's another actor, I think, by the name of Kevin West. So his name is Kevin E. West, and he has this little program with Carolyn Berry, too, which, let's see now, with Terry Berland, which they do a lot of things with commercials too, and then you have this little thing, this little CD, it's a CD program. So anyway, it's got other people in there. Billy DeMotta, which I've met him, and I got to go to one of their little Christmas parties one time. He and his girlfriend, I can't think of her name right now, I don't know if their wife or his partner, I guess. And then there's Jeff Hardwick is in this CD. He has some notes from some various agents. So anyway, that's really interesting. Yeah, Carolyn Berry's a great commercial coach. Now, I took some great classes from Michael Pointer, which I guess I'll try to get some of his books here. I've got one of them right off the bat here, Programming Your Mind for Success with Michael Pointer. And I took great improv classes from him, commercial improv, which are great. You know, it's really just bouncing off each other. Just they'll give you, and they do that a lot on commercial auditions. You just come in and say, you know, sometimes they'll pair you right up with another actor who's also auditioning for that part or another part, and they'll just say. Now that's back when they used to do stuff in person. Now a lot of that stuff is done online. But although if you live in LA, I guess you can go on a lot of in-person auditions too. But he's really a good motivational person too, and he's a tough teacher too for commercials though. But he makes it fun, you know. But he's really gets people to work on their mindset, which I think for me, that was the hardest, and it still is, but I'm getting better at it, but after 20 years later. But anyway, working on it, because the first time I moved out there, I was in my 40s, and I was already kind of behind the 8 ball on all of it, and thinking, oh, you know, I'm too old, I'm kind of chubby, you know, I used to be, you know, like we all did when we were, not all of, well, a lot of us when we were in our 20s, of course, we all looked better. And, you know, a lot of it is about looks, but that's mostly for certain roles for younger people. But now it's kind of like across the board, all kinds of looks are in. And at least you don't, you know, and for certain leading roles, they do want them to be the most attractive because that may be part of the character. You know, somebody 25 who's very good looking or something, whether male or female roles, whatever. So, but anyway, so he's a great teacher. We took commercial improv. They'd put you in a room and like a casting and say, oh, pretend like you're at a ball game watching sports with your friends, and somebody would just start up the conversation. Oh, do you think they'll win? Oh, I don't know. I'm really hoping they'll win. And oh my God, look, there they are now. Oh, they're coming out. I'm so excited. You know, just kind of like improvising in the moment. Basically, you're sort of like live streaming your own as a screenwriter. Like you're almost like creating your own lines. That's almost like what improv is. You're like creating your own lines and scenes as you go, scenarios. And it's really interesting. That's why I like sometimes if I don't have a reader or just to practice. Looks like I tried to put on a little makeup today. It looks like I put something looks funny in my hair. So anyway, so I turned my camera around a minute. So, but anyway, but yeah, that's basically what commercial improv is. I guess next time I'll flip it back over so that, but anyway, the camera, sometimes I film like regular and then you look at the camera lens here, you know, or you can flip it over like a selfie video, whatever. But anyway, but when you're auditioning, you're really supposed to have it, you know, like as if you're filming yourself like you would be in an audition room, see? And have somebody come in and read with you, or you can have somebody else on your phone or on your laptop computer reading with you over Zoom or something like that, see the lines. So, but yeah, he had great commercial improv classes and all kinds of commercial auditions, you know, hey, tell us your name, please. Hi, I'm Jean Tuitt. I'm in SAG-AFTRA. I'm tell us a little bit about yourself. Okay, so I'm from Texas, but I've lived in LA, blah, blah, blah. That's when I lived in Texas. And then if you live back in Texas, which I do again, you just kind of tell them, but keep it brief because that was, I like to, well, I guess you already figured that out. I like to kind of talk, a little bit, and then some. So, but you have to kind of keep it moving and keep it simple. And if you have back when we had more auditions in person, you had to watch out on those because they'd bring other actors in, and some of these other actors would just throw you off if you weren't careful. They'd start asking you right in front of the casting people and other people, tell me who your agent is, blah, blah, blah. You're not supposed to be, do you like your agent? That's all personal. That you're not supposed to be talking about that in front of the casting people and everything when they're getting ready to film you. So you have to be careful. I don't know. It's or like in the waiting room. I remember one time, well, I get on these tangents. I can talk about all that another day because today we're trying to stick to a subject. But I remember I had a better audition for a better film that I would have gotten to be in Saving Mr. Banks. And there was one lady in the room she was really trying to intimidate me by looking mean. She was in the waiting room, another actress, and she was trying to stare me down and, be mean. So, I've been through a lot in my life. My father was very strict and tough, and I went to Catholic schools with the nuns, and I've been in a lot of jobs and careers that were tough, and I've had boyfriends or friends that weren't always the nicest people either. So, I don't, that's one advantage if you go out there or even to take up acting wherever you are, if you're older, because you've been through a lot, maybe you can handle all that rejection and intimidation. But like if you're younger and you haven't been through a lot, you might take too many things personal, which it's not good. And I've been in sales too, and I was in the news business, which is tough too. So, but anyway, yeah. And then here's another book called The Business of Acting, which is good. That's always important to learn. When I first moved out there, Brad Mack, he's really a good person to talk to about the business of acting. They had different people there from New York and everything. They had it, like I think it was the LA Convention Center the first time I moved there. I would just go to whatever I could. And I took some classes from Ivan Mercoda, who has since passed away also. But he had, his first classes were free, and he was really good too. He had a studio right off of Hollywood Boulevard. Okay, it's right in the middle of everything. So, but he was a really good teacher. He taught only Meisner, I believe. Yeah, and I've studied that too. I talked about some different techniques the other day. So, and then one of my teachers was named Steve Easton, and right away he could tell, because we did the Conrad method, which is more like improv, but then you're still kind of creating your character as you go, but you have all that, you have it all in you already if you've studied the character a little bit, so you don't have to really have it too formatted. It's more organic and generic, and you're just like going to go with it, and it's going to be kind of new each time, give it birth each time as you do your little scene, even if you're on a set and they're turning it around and everything, because they can piece it all together. They have these great film editors, which I was trying to study that. That kind of mixes me up, but I would love to learn more about it. I have taken one online class in that, but that is just so marvelous. But yeah, on a set, it's not like theater. That's why theater's so fun. But then on a set, you have to keep turning the scene around, and you have to recreate it from all the different angles. And I remember Mark Ruffalo talked about that too, because he always loved doing theater, and then of course he loved doing TV and film too, so mostly films, but then he's been in some TV shows too. So basically, turning it around because you're creative, but if you're really, you just have to focus more because you have to constantly, to keep turning the cameras around to get it from different angles, and it's kind of amazing how it all comes together. But anyway, Steve Easton told me that I needed to read this book, which I think I need to read it again, Women Who Think Too Much, because I can kind of talk myself out of a lot of things. I get excited and talk myself into things, and then I can talk myself out of things too. And I can, you can just think your way into a negative thought pattern. And that's why, I thought, well, I need to be careful what kind of people around. I don't want to be around people who are too negative or anything. But on the other hand, I was thinking sometimes it's just me doing it. I had a kind of a critical upbringing. I think we all kind of did. And so, to a certain extent, maybe some people didn't, but kind of to doubt yourself a lot. And that's not good. I mean, my father was trying to make me tough, but sometimes I think it had a negative impact. But I've studied psychology and all that years later, or even when I was younger, in my 20s, and I minored in that in college. And then I have a myriad of books on psychology too. So that's why it's such a hassle to move. I've got to declutter some more books. But then a lot of the books are online now too, which I have a lot of books online. But yeah, this is really good to kind of, and even Joanne would say, that I was in my head too much. You need to get out of your head. As an actor, you need to bring it all into your heart and your body and your soul and your, kind of just embrace the characters and everything. But you have to kind of think. It depends on what the role is. I think maybe that's why, even though they were very small roles, I did book, like I said, I booked the attorney role and then the judge role. And then some of the roles have been more like dogmatic, kind of analytical type characters. Although in real life, I'm not totally like that, but sometimes when I get into my head, I'm kind of like that. So anyway, and then, yeah, back to Joanne's classes, we would study Tennessee Williams. We did a lot of things that he wrote. Like I said, William Inge is a great one. I did Hello from Bertha. I played Bertha. And then we did, let's see, oh, Come Back Little Sheba, that was a great film too. It was a great play on Broadway and everything. And then Shirley Booth was in the movie, and she's married to an alcoholic chiropractor. Yeah. So, and it's film was made back in the 40s or 50s or something. So, but anyway, there's a young girl upstairs, and he's sort of wanting to be with her, of course, instead of his older wife. So, and I'm the older wife, and so it's pretty good. And I acted with my friend Mitch, he's been in a lot of Stellar Adler classes, but I met him at the Joanne Limble studio. So now this is another interesting book that I picked up one time out in LA. It's called Acting Techniques for Everyday Life. Look and feel self-confident in difficult real-life situations. Well, if you're like most actors, not only are you trying to book the role, you're probably trying to book a job as not only maybe as a substitute teacher or maybe as a waiter or bartender, or in fact a lot of the bartending jobs and waitress jobs and waiter jobs out in LA, they make them bring their headshot resume into the interview. And of course, a lot of it, they want somebody, really young and everything. They can lift things, and also, especially for the bartenders or some of the waiters, but also be young and good looking and, really, move real fast and everything. It just depends on the place. So I was thinking maybe I could be a bartender at the DFW, a VFW hall or something, or, there's a lot of, maybe like some places. I was looking into that. But yeah, another day we'll talk totally about jobs that a lot of actors do. That's another day. Okay, so, but this lady that wrote this book, Jane Marla Robbins, you might remember her from, let's see, she was in that show 30 something. But she's been in a lot of Lifetime movies and things too. I think I've seen her in lots of movies, Lifetime movies, maybe Hallmark movies. This book, whenever this book came out, she lived in Topanga, California, but she taught her workshop at Loyola Marymount University in LA. And yeah, I was in a student film there. I played the 40-year-old freshman, kind of like the 40-year-old virgin take on that, but I was the 40-year-old freshman, but I was a student at the university. So, but I never got a copy of that. I think they played it in the, somebody told me it was kind of funny, they played it in the study hall or in the cafeteria at Loyola Marymount, which is interesting because I went to Catholic schools growing up, you know, and then I went to public university here in Texas, but growing up, I went to Catholic schools. So, but yeah, Loyola Marymount is a Catholic university. So, oh, and then another really good one is, I was going to have my phone so that I could show you, but I can just tell you, Stephen Foster has a really good acting program. Awakening the Actor Within. That's the name of it. Awakening the Actor Within. And of course, a lot of his programs are online. I thought maybe I'd have my phone. I guess I put it in the other room. Okay. So, but anyway, and he talks about using your jobs and careers kind of as a backdrop for your acting career. In other words, you know, because I had met him at an audition. I auditioned for one of his projects one time, and I met him and became friends with him. And then he helped me do some online coaching one time. And actually, I booked that little part. But when I was the attorney in Kangaroo, the web series. But there was another one too he helped me with. But anyway, he does online coaching, which I kind of try to do, but I haven't done much with that. I mean, I'm on some different app sites to do that, but they want me to go through them, and it's so just you can contact me directly here if you want some acting coaching, and we can do it over Zoom, or you know, we can do a lot over the phone or over Zoom, or if you're where I am right now in Texas, Dallas, we can meet up at the coffee shop or something. I can go through some things with you, and then we can work on Zoom. There's always like a lot of recommended reading when you first start out, and you know, putting your resumes up on the different acting sites, and being in student films and theater is a good way to get started. But you know, that's all for another day too. So, but basically, Stephen Foster talks about that and how that kind of can cheer you up as an actor too, because for me and a lot of actors, that's the hardest part. Because the more you get involved in the acting, the more you do with it, the more you do, whether it's auditions or theater or acting classes or doing your headshot resumes or networking events or whatever it is, you get to a point where you just want to be a full-time actor. And most actors have to have another job or business. It's just the way it is, okay? Very sad, but true. But I guess not unless we can figure out how to create our own programs, which maybe eventually I can do all that here, but I'd have to totally reorganize my place better to do that, and probably, you know, have a different place, you know. Okay, so anyway, or I guess you can film, you know, just put together some films with people out and about. If you're in SAG-AFTRA like I am, you have to get permission from them to do all that stuff too. And then of course you have to have time and the money to do all this stuff. Figure out how to make money with it. Maybe sell them online, maybe as a DVD or something. Bob Fraser talks a lot about that too. Back to him. But anyway, back to Steve Foster. He talks a lot about that you could just cheer yourself up. Like if you're more recently, I've been like a cashier at the dollar store, and I had like an assistant stock clerk, manager, whatever. It was just a seasonal job, putting stuff up. It wasn't even maybe just a couple weeks or so, but just putting things up. You know, like if you're part-time, this or that. You know, like if you're just part-time or temp with sub-teaching or temping, or you know, like me trying to remotivate myself with insurance again. Like even when I met with Joanne one time. I was moving back to Texas. I said I was kind of discouraged a little bit having to move back just because of the finances and everything of living in LA. And you've got to have a really good job and to support yourself or get a really tiny place. And I have pets, and my places are always small, but they have to be like really small. They are maybe 1 or 200 square feet to get it affordable. And then you've got to, or have roommates, or and I'm single, maybe if I meet the right person someday or something. So, right man, I'm just, I have a lot of women friends, but I'm only, attracted to men, whatever, just make that. But anyway, but I have friends of all different kinds of friends, that are all kinds of different, you know, um, different kinds of people. Okay, personalities, etc. So, but that's what you'd kind of do. You kind of just cheer yourself up and say, you know what, um, I would like to um, be an actor full time, but whenever I'm not acting in a project or on an audition or in a class or something, today I'm a substitute teacher, or today I'm trying to sell insurance. And like Joanne said, just put it like you're putting on a costume, with your briefcase or your whatever, and you just dress up for that role. And she gave me some other good advice too. She said I needed to find some place to do Come Back Little Sheba again, and find, uh, someone to do that whole play with, it may be in a public play forum someplace, and to be Lola. And so that might be good to, instead of just doing it in her small little theater, we did have the public come and visit us and see, it was like a regular performance that we did. But just even when I did Hello from Bertha and some other ones. But basically, it's, it really is something that you can do to make it more interesting for yourself whenever you do have other jobs and careers. Just pretend like you're that character for that day or week or whenever you're doing it. But yeah, she told me I should put that together, and I guess I would like to do that again. Lola was a very interesting character. And like I said, Shirley Booth was in that movie, so that's a good role for me. So, okay, so then here's another book. Now, I've never taken from Ivana Shubik, but she's a good acting coach. But I took a webinar one day, or a seminar one day in person in LA with some people that had studied with her, and they discussed her techniques. And then of course out in LA you could buy, Samuel French had all these stores. I don't think they have in-person stores anymore though. And you could buy like lots of scenes to do. Like here's the best scenes for the 90s. Pick some scenes. You can just do some scenes with your friends. You make some copies of scenes. This is a great book. I got this at a bookstore near Venice Beach one time, and it's got that scene from White Palace in it, which is great. I love that. I love that movie, and that would be a great kind of role to play, where Susan Sarandon, meets him back in the bar after she had waited on him at the restaurant at White Palace Burger Place, and but I love that movie. She's the older woman in that. And then of course he ends up falling in love with her and everything. I'm sure you've seen that movie. Age is just a number, right? Okay, depends. So okay. Yeah, I like dating younger men a little bit, but if they're too much younger, like if they're 5 to 10 years younger, maybe even 15 years younger, kind of okay. My same age up to 15 years younger, or I've even dated people like my age or maybe up to 2 years older. But if they're a lot younger, I don't always feel that comfortable. Maybe one time I went out with some guy like 20 years younger. He was really cute, but he was like a playboy type. So there goes that one. So, but anyway, but one that was maybe quite a bit younger, he was like only 30, and that was a lot younger for me. and he was like a little too young, see. So, but anyway, Moonstruck, that's a great character. It's got great scenes in here. You know, the one that Cher played. She's so interesting. She dates a lot of younger man. I guess she has a younger boyfriend now, but she really takes good care of herself. I read about that. She's healthy. She eats healthy. You know, and eats. You know, of course, she works out a lot too and everything. But let's see here. I don't think she drinks at all either, which is good. I mean, you know, non-alcoholic. I think no alcoholic beverages, which I'm sure ages you, and smoking does too. Smoking and drinking ages you. I never really was into smoking much or anything. I did that one time during a dance contest just to stay awake. We won though, but I've never been really into drinking a lot, but I have liked to go out to clubs and have drinks, and in my younger days we used to like to go out disco dancing and drinking. Of course, when you're disco dancing, you burn a lot of it off too, but my biggest thing was I used to go through drive-thrus a lot, and sometimes I still do, but now it's out of my budget, even to go to these fast food restaurants. That's not healthy either, to have that stuff too much. So, but I'm trying to buy just more healthy things, you know, more greens and things like that, greenery stuff. Okay, so, but kind of a little bit of everything. I mean, you can't just live on spinach, but, okay, so this was another movie I was trying to find in here that's a really good one. Got Moonstruck and, okay, White Palace, of course, is just great. Oh, it's got Harry Met Sally in here, which is a great scene. I read that one time, John Swanbeck's class. He has a really different acting method. It's very interesting, about visualizing different things. When you're saying your lines, you visualize yourself. I don't want to give too much of his classes away but they're interesting if you visualize certain things while you're talking to the person. And he talks a lot about how the camera, you have to really become friends with the camera, because the camera really picks up a lot of things. So, you know, and that's a whole nother thing. But yeah, he has some really great classes. I think he still teaches out in LA. And then you can do some of these classes online too. Oh, I took some classes from Paul Parker too. He's from Australia, and he's a really good teacher too. He's taught some Australian techniques. I remember the first time I went to one of those classes, it was a little theater over there off of Santa Monica Boulevard in Hollywood, and we all had to go barefoot on stage and everything, and kind of just meditate and kind of get calm at first, and you know, but that was similar to what Joanne did one time when she made me just have the entire class. It was a pretty big class too. They all just had to stare at me while I had to just be still, you know. You do have to be kind of still for certain roles in movies, but like, just to be kind of still. And it was a long day's journey into night. I did that role in the class. Really kind of a dark character, very sad character. Eugene O'Neill, I believe, yes. But, you know, she was a very sad lady. And so anyway, that's a whole nother, but I had to be very still for that and just sit and think and, you know, stare. And basically everybody in the class was staring at me and not say a word. I could not say a word. And then begin my line. She made me do it. And then she said begin, finally, when she felt like I was in the good place to start performing, you know, the scene. Okay, so, anyway, this is a really good movie. I mean, good movie book to get some characters in it. Oh, it's got Born on the 4th of July. They filmed part of that right over near where I am right now in Dallas, the Tom Cruise movie, where he plays the disabled veteran. But it's like there's an old little bar over here. I haven't been over there lately, but it's It's Milo Butterfingers. It's a bar, and it's really close to Yale Boulevard, on the way to SMU, but it's not that far. It's off of Greenville Avenue, and it's just like a little pool hall diving bar, but it's kind of like a little cubbyhole bar, but it's a pretty good size bar too once you get in there, and they have a little outdoor area too. But that was a really good movie, and they filmed part of that, that one bar scene in there. So, but yeah, that's a good scene in here. And oh, Good Will Hunting's in here. Of course, that's a great movie. Fish Called Wanda. Do the Right Thing was a Spike Lee movie. Let's see, Clerks, Carlito's Way, Bullets Over Broadway, with Woody Allen and John Cusack and a number of people. I think he's a good actor too. I like his comedy. He's kind of especially when he plays like the serious character, but he's just naturally funny. I think it's really funny. So, Chasing Amy. Oh, heck, Annie Hall. Pulp Fiction. Sex, Lies, and Videotape. She's the One. Sleep With Me. Shortcuts. Strictly Ballroom. Swingers. Thelma and Louise. Oh my gosh. Great movie. That's where Brad Pitt got his breakout role. They asked Gina Davis which one she liked the best after the audition. She got to sit in on the audition when they auditioned for the role that Brad Pitt got as the kind of, the crazy character. I guess he was a smart character, but he was a con artist, thief, robber guy, real sexy, has that sexy walk. He had that sexy walk when I saw him on stage at the ArcLight just a few years ago. Being in SAG-AFTRA, I got to go to the screening of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And we were so excited because we didn't know who was going to be speaking. We thought it'd be a lot of the other people in the movie, or maybe a lot of the people like behind the scenes crew people and, ADs and sound people and wardrobe people and everything. But it turned out that he was on, at the end, after we saw the movie, they said, "We have a surprise for you. Not only do we have Tarantino with us, we also have Leonardo DiCaprio and Brad Pitt." And oh my gosh, all three at once. That was like the best SAG-AFTRA screening I've ever been to. That's one thing I do miss out in LA too. Those great SAG-AFTRA screenings. But anyway, Brad Pitt walks across the stage with that same kind of sexy walk that, just got us, all the, women were just going crazy. I was feeling butterflies. Oh my gosh, we're getting so excited. Just like, whoa. So, but anyway, of course, he's got a million impersonators online. Be careful talking to those people. So, but anyway, but I've met different friends online from doing that, So, like my friend Kim up in Canada, she had all those imposters too, but we met a lot of other people online too that had the imposters texting us, "Hey, how are you today?" Like as if, Brad Pitt has all day long to just, he's a doer. He doesn't just, I'm sure he's a very successful person. Why would he have time to, just text people all day long like that? So anyway, this is a great movie. But yeah, he has that breakout role where he's with Gina Davis, great love making role, and she's just so excited, and then the next thing you know, he's Rob's. Well, you've probably seen the movie. I didn't want to spoil it for you. It's an older movie, but very, But now here's a book I found at the dollar store one day. Deep Thoughts from a Hollywood Blonde with Jenny Garth. It's really an interesting little book, and of course she was on 90210, so that's interesting. I got that book at the dollar store. So you never know you can just find all kinds of books anywhere. Used bookstores. Then of course there's lots of books on writing and acting. Well, here's an older book on acting I got acting, the first 6 lessons. Um, Richard, I'm going to mispronounce this, Boleslavsky. There's also Stanislavski. And there's a lot of those books. I have some of them on the online. I bought some, or subscribed to the online Kindle books. How They Cast It, an insider's look at film and television casting with Rob Kent. This is an interesting, written by Breakdown Services. They came in when I lived. I guess at the time, did I live in Austin or did I drive down there from Dallas? I've lived in Austin some, and I've lived in Dallas mostly, and then I've lived in LA some. See, so, but yeah, the Breakdown Services at the over at the campus. They had at the UT campus. They had an all day session for us, and we got these books, and went through a lot of stuff. It was an interesting day. So, all right. So I guess I just had some other books. I guess I could recommend them. They're sort of not really technically acting, but I need to read this one again by Claude Bristol, The Magic of Believing, because oftentimes in life, like so many of us, I'm like, I just, like, I'll never make the big time, I'll never do this, I'll never do that, So then I just do the bare minimum. I mean, a lot of times I've really gone all in on stuff and really, knocked myself out. I've knocked myself out in all my jobs and careers, but for whatever reason, I've never made a lot of money. I've just stayed afloat. I mean, once in a while I'd do better, and then next thing you know, I'd kind of fall back down. I think it's a mindset, but you do have to do magic of believing. And also, back to the thing, I can keep harping on this point, but something I learned in my acting classes, and even Joanne would say this, and other coaches too, like, whether you're studying acting or anything creative, or just like becoming more of a believer in yourself, all these things help you with your other jobs and careers. And like Joanne would say, it will help you in your life too. Because I think it has. I mean, it made me look at friends, or like when I have dated or whatever. I've got so selective. Isn't that the irony of it is we get older, we become more selective. And we don't look as hot as we did when we were like 20 years old. But life is not fair. Okay, so, but we get smarter. We realize that looks are not everything in life, right? Okay. So let's see. Oh, and then here's Organizing for the Creative Person, which is a great book too. And if you're a creative person, you maybe struggle with that. Although sometimes I know where everything is, but my goal someday is to be more and more paperless. But I do think you still need to have things on hard copy. Don't be careful, on if it's, you're on the internet and then with all your personal information. But it is good if you can organize things more. And I'm constantly needing to declutter, so I guess that's it for today. I know there's a lot of other books that I've read, and great acting teachers, and that I've studied with. I was just looking at some of my other books and everything to see if I saw anything else offhand. But we'll wrap it up for today, and y'all have a great day, okay? So, we just have to you gotta do it all, So, oh, I know, I'm going to mention too, there's a great screenwriter that's Michael Jarman. He's, I haven't been able to afford his classes online yet, but he's got a lot of good classes about screenwriting and TV writing and everything online. And then he has some programs, but he's on YouTube, and he talks a lot about it. And I think it's great to learn from people that have actually done it in the field. Back to like the acting coaches, like Joanne has a lot of experience. John Swanbeck, he actually directed Danny DeVito in, oh my gosh, I can't think of his name right now. But anyway, in the movie, I can't think of the name of the movie, but I'll think of it next time. We'll talk about all that. But The Big Kahuna with what's that famous actor? He got a little bit of trouble. Maybe got it fixed. I don't know. But he was in a bar one time. You know, bars are not always good for people. He got in big trouble. He got himself into a mess by going into a bar one time. But he's a really good actor, though. He was in, oh my gosh, I can't think of the name. He's a really famous actor. He was on the show about Washington, D.C., the great show. But he also, the series, the Netflix series. But he also was in Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil with John Cusack, which is a great movie. And with Judge. Well, anyway, I'll get all those together. These are just things I just thought of off the top of my head. But anyway, he had a lot of good experience as a film director and everything. And then I guess he's directed some commercials and a lot of different things like that. And directed theater and everything. And then Steve Easton has a pretty long acting resume too. If you want to look his acting resume up on IMDb, and and then Michael Jarman has a lot of great credits, famous shows he's worked on, television shows, and he's done mostly stuff with TV, but I guess he's done some things with movies too, but he's mostly like a TV writer. But he has lots of great experience, you know. So, and this is what we want to look for with people. And I was really impressed the fact that he has so many online classes and things that are free. He gives back a lot, which I think is nice. I mean, you know, there's a lot of people in Hollywood that seem like they really are nice people. I mean, they're not all like evildoers or something. Like if you get on YouTube, sometimes you can wonder. But you know, I was in the news business. You never know about people, and you know, a lot of times you'll never really know the truth about anybody. I mean, hopefully you'll know if you have close friends or if you get married or you know was close proximity working with somebody, you'll get to know them well. But sometimes if you just meet people in passing, you don't know. But you can't be totally distrustful of people either. I used to be kind of distrustful, you know, just different things I'd been through in life as a child, as a kid, and growing up and different experiences. You get a little bit leery, but you can't be totally like that. But you know, Hollywood, I mean, it's got all kinds of, just like every other industry and every other geographical place too. Whether it's Hollywood is a state of mind anyway nowadays. No matter where you live, it's, you know, there's so much online. But sooner or later, you will have to maybe go there to audition for a bigger role, or maybe live there, or to get more active in television or sometimes commercials. But anyway, we'll wrap it up now. So, but obviously I have a passion for it. I love it, and it's fun, but it's a lot of work. And the hard part is when you're trying to make a living at it. You know, we could sit here all day and talk about acting. We could put together some little skits and go do some community theater, go do regular theater, go do some more independent films where there's no pay involved. You know, like I've done like student films where they'll feed you, you know. Things like that. It's fun. I mean, it's so much fun. And I remember I was reading Kevin Costner had a good comment that he made about a lot of times in one of his interviews, until you really get involved as an actor or in the business, you know, whether it's acting, writing, whatever, directing, all the editing, other people don't really understand a lot that you go through and how much you enjoy it and how what you go through though, because until you're actually in that world or scenario, all those different scenarios, you don't really understand it. But yeah, he's very inspiring too. He used to teach some free classes, I think, somewhere in LA. They'd all meet outside someplace. I'm not sure if it was in a park or near a bridge or someplace, but in LA, but he used to meet with a lot of actors and teach them, and he gave back, and it finally worked out well for him. I mean, as Zig Ziglar used to say, if you help people get what they want, then you'll get what you want to. So that's a nice. He actually, I met his real wife. I mean, his wife. So used to talking about acting and everything and roles. I met his wife one time, a long time ago when I worked at a Kroger's out in Plano, Texas. One of the times I moved back to Texas, and I met his wife one day. He had passed away, and then we got talking, and I said, "Well, that's so interesting. He was such an inspiration to me. I bought a lot of his books, and even went to the library when I was selling insurance, because became such a drudgery thing sometimes. But you have to really motivate yourself. But even in that business, you can meet a lot of interesting people, and your interesting people are your customers. And that's one thing, like even with acting or sales or anything, if you can create the kind of environment and the kind of people you want to work with, whether you're in sales and they're your customers, or the kind of companies you want to work with, or like as an actor, just meet a lot of people that you want to work with and do things with. But when you're trying to get into the bigger aspects of it, you have to kind of have a little bit of a resume behind you, and some training and some chops, and a lot to bring to the table, because it's a whole nother ball game. It's like going to the Olympics or something. So okay, well, I'll talk to you later. Okay, thank you.